Hi, this is Jane, and today we're looking at functional skills entry level 3, and this video is focusing on the email. What do you need to do to write an email? To begin with, you need to read your question and find out who are you writing the email to. We call this the audience. Then, why are you writing the email? We call this the purpose. And both of these you will be able to find in the exam question. And then finally, what do you have to do in an email? The content. That's what this video will be about, because I have been asked, how do I write the email and what do I write? Let's have a look. Well, you have that triangle there to show you audience, purpose, tone, and content is in the middle because content covers all of this, what you write. And on the left-hand side, there's an example of 2 exam questions. You're only going to get 1 question if you're asked to write an email, but here is an example of 2. You want to do a running challenge to help you get fit. Invite a friend to do the challenge with you. And then the second example is, you sent the passport application form a few weeks ago, but your passport has not arrived. Write an email to the passport office asking them what is happening. So your audience for the first example is your friend. And in the second example is the passport office. So it's important to know who are you writing to, because this will affect how you write. Your tone is going to be informal if you're writing to a friend, and it's going to be formal if you're writing to a government office, and we'll look at tone in a moment. But moving on to purpose, your purpose in your first example is to invite your friend. But remember, you've also got to talk about that running challenge and what it's all about and when it's going to happen. And purpose in your second example is you need to ask questions of this passport office. What's happened to your passport? But remember, you also need to give information to the passport office about when you sent off for your passport. So let's go back to tone. I want you to think about informal and formal. So when you're writing your email, you need to decide, am I writing an informal email? Am I writing a formal email? And I want you to think opposites. So for informal, you would be writing colloquial words, words that you use when you're talking to your friend, words then when you're outside in society as a friendship group. You would be using contractions, so make sure you understand how to use contractions, and that's when we shorten those words to say can't, won't, didn't. And you'll be using abbreviated words, so when you're writing informal writing, you can use words like TV. That's the correct time to use them. But the opposite is true of formal language. So instead of colloquial, you'll be using what we call standard English. Instead of contractions, you need to make sure that you write the full words. And instead of abbreviated words, remember for formal, you never abbreviate. You always write the correct words. So informal, you could write TV, but in a formal email or letter, you must write the whole word television. So we look at the exam question and we have bullet points. We're going to look at the first exam question at the getting fit, and you would be given this information. Write an email to explain. So that tells you straight away what type of writing you have to do. You have to explain. why you want to get fit, when you want to start the challenge, what do you think the benefits to your health will be, and why you want your friend to join you in the challenge. So in the examination, you've been given the information to help you structure your answer. So you have to write about the bullet points. So think about at least one sentence for why you want to get fit. At least one sentence for when you want to start. At least one sentence for what you think the benefits to your health will be, and at least one sentence why you want your friend to join you. So you are expected to write at least 4 sentences, and you can add extra detail, but do make sure you've thought about your linking words, because your examiner will be looking for at least one linking word. That means you need to revise compound sentences and make sure you're clear how to use and, but, or so. On your exam paper, you will have a box, and in the writing, you can use this space to plan your writing. So make sure you do have a plan, because your plan will show your examiner that you have ordered your ideas. And you can see here, I've very simply just written my friend. I would put my friend's name there, and then outside the arrows, I would put a little bit of information, what I want to add to my email. Not too much, because remember, you need to be thinking about your time. In the email itself, you need to make sure you've followed all of the bullet points and you're clear that you understand how your email is going to be marked. So for this example, we had to answer the questions what, why, when about this running challenge. Let's have a look. Dear Joe, I'm taking part in a running challenge that starts next week because I need to get fit. I think running will help me, and when I lose weight, I will feel healthier. I want to start this challenge next week on Sunday 13th of March. Once I begin this challenge, I'm going to keep a record of the length of each run. Running will improve my health because it will boost my immune system. It would be great if you could join me. Would you like to take part? If you join me in this challenge, it will be easier for me to take part. Also, it will support me in ensuring that I continue with the challenge and do not give up. So at this stage of the video, I want to show you what the examiner will be looking at. So around the outside of that response, I've written what the examiners are looking for. So at functional skills, entry level 3, the examiner is looking for at least 50 words. You can write more than that, but don't write less. So at least 50 words. The examiner is also looking for a range of punctuation. So that means they're looking at your writing. Have you used a comma? Have you used a full stop? Have you used a question mark? Have you used an exclamation mark? And they're looking for, have you used it correctly? Now you can see in that first sentence that the candidate has written 2 full stops there. So that's not correct. However, the rest of the sentences are correct, so you will still get marks for what you have done correctly. So don't worry if you make a mistake. The examiner is also looking at, is this language suitable for an email? So in terms of tone, it does sound very friendly and it has used words to suggest that they would really like to include the friend. And also, if I looked for contractions, I could find perhaps they haven't used that here, and they could have used the contraction I'm for I'm going to keep. But remember, we're also looking for other things to give points to, so that might not mean that you'll lose too many marks there. So look next at, have you used a compound sentence? Ah, yes, well done. You can see here that the candidate has used a compound sentence and has used at least one conjunction. I can see there a couple of ands There's not anything more than and, so I might get marks for this, but I could perhaps have added in some different connectives, some different conjunctions there. So looking next for the examiner at, have you got an email subject? Can you see that blue arrow there pointing to subject? Oh dear, this candidate has forgotten to put the subject in there. But when the examiner is marking, they're looking for either the subject or the salutation. So the salutation is to your friend. So how you start the email off, Dear Joe. And it may be that you write hi to your friend, Hi Joe. Then the examiner's looking at the content. Why did you want to get fit? Have you answered that question? When do you want to start the challenge? Has this email answered that question? What do you think the benefits to your health will be? Has the email answered that question? And why do you want your friend to join them? Has the email answered that question? And next, the examiner will be thinking, is this in a logical sequence? Have you written the sentences in the correct order? And after that, the examiner will be looking at, have you written the correct grammar? Now you can see from that email that some of the email is marked well for having completed what's expected, but some of the things are not accurate. And the most important part of this video is to know that your email does not have to be perfect. You do have to think about all the different parts that you have to cover and try very hard to do that. However, just as in this email response here, you might not have completed all of the things the examiner is looking for, but you do need to make sure that you've tried. And this means that if you try, you're more likely to gain some marks. So I want you to think about purpose, audience, and text features when you're writing for functional skills exams. So think plan, bullet points, and connectives when you're writing for functional skills entry level 3. And think, how many sentences does it say to use? How many connectives do I need? How many words? Only so that you write enough. We always talk about minimal or at least. So this is to make sure that you can get marks for what you've written. And finally, have I answered the question? Did I write the topic in the subject part of the email? Have I followed the bullet points? Did I begin my email with dear or hi or a relevant salutation? Did I write enough sentences? Did I look to see if it was a formal or informal email? So practice, 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 and then you'll feel a lot more comfortable with how you approach an exam question and writing an email. Good luck. Did I end my email properly? Now, right at the very end of your writing, you could say that, and this is the end of your video today. Bye now.